cheddar section of the strawberry line, and you can see and hear everything. Thank you.
Julie? You're on mute.
Julie Cordiner, councillor for the Victoria Ward. I can see and hear everything.
Thank you. Shannon?
Hi, I'm Shannon May. I'm the grants officer for Sedgemoor, and I can see and hear everything.
Thank you. Liz?
Sorry, yeah, Liz Perry, Deputy Chair. I'm the District Council of the King's Isle Ward, and I can confirm I can see and hear everything. Thank you.
Thank you. Charlie? Charlie, can you hear us?
Good afternoon.
Yes.
Yes, Charlie Richards, councillor for Cheddar and Shipham. I can see and hear you.
Miss Ferguson?
Hello, I'm Sally Ferguson, Parish Clerk at Limpsham, representing Limpsham and Belvedere Cricket Club, and I can see and hear everything. Thank you.
Thank you. Miss Wells?
Hello, Barbara Wells from Axbridge, and yes, I can see and hear everything. Thank you.
Thank you. Graham?
Thank you, Chair. Graham Godwin Pearson, councillor for Axvale. I can see and hear everything.
Thank you. Polly?
Thank you, Councillor Polly Costello, Wedmore and Mark. I can see and hear everything. Thank you.
Thank you. Andrew?
Sorry, hello, Andrew Melhewish. I'm Democratic Service Support at the meeting today. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Alan?
Yeah, Councillor Alan Matthews, Highbridge and Burnham Marine. I can see and hear everything.
Thank you. Dorothy?
Good afternoon, Dorothy O'Farrell, Legal Services. I confirm I can see and hear everything.
Thank you. Lee?
Thank you, Chair. Councillor Lee Redmond, councillor for the HAMP ward in Bridgewater. Just for clarity, Chair, I have another meeting for 3:30, so I will have to leave there. I've tried to reschedule it, but because this meeting popped in, I've got no choice. I have to leave it just before 3:30, so I'll give my apologies from that point.
Thank you very much. Just dip out as you need to. Mr. Lane or Miss Lane? Alex Lane?
Hello, I'm Alex Lane. Can you see me now?
I could hear you, but I couldn't see you.
No, well, that's probably a good thing. I'm sorry, I can't see everybody on the committee either, but I'm here representing Cross Memorial Hall and their application. And I can hear everything, I can't see everything.
We've had Mr. Parkin. Is there anyone present that has not been able to confirm?
You haven't heard from me yet. Oliver Hume, Chairman of the Princess Theatre Company.
Sorry to have missed you out. Now, before we start the meeting proper, because this is being held under rather different circumstances to what we had hoped, I need to read out to you a statement from the council. This meeting is being held as an advisory meeting and will make recommendations of support to the leader of council to take the final decision in line with the powers vested to the leader by the Constitution, noting that the Grants Award Subcommittee is a subcommittee of the Executive. For each application, I will ask members to propose and recommend a course of action, and these will be sent to the leader of council for his determination. Hopefully, those present will hear the meeting. However, in the event of any technical failure, it will be necessary to adjourn the meeting and set a new time to reinstate the meeting. Please note that this is the meeting being recorded. All members of the committee should have their videos on, but will remain muted until either myself or the administrating officer invites you to speak. All members of the press and public will remain muted unless they have registered to speak, and I or our administration will let them know when they can make their representation. The format of the meeting will be as per the agenda published. And I will now ask the officers, we've done that bit. So that clears that one up. Now, firstly, do we have any apologies for absence?
Thank you,
I've not-
Chairman. Thank you,
Yes.
Chairman. Councillor Bolt had given his apologies in case he didn't make it in, and it looks like he hasn't made it in today.
Thank you. They will be recorded. Now, item 2 are the minutes of the meeting held on the 23rd of February, which have been previously circulated. Does everyone agree that they are an accurate record of the proceedings? As there are no voices to state otherwise, then it is agreed that they be recorded as an accurate representation.
Chairman, can we have the 26 agreed as well, please?
Yes.
Sorry.
I'm scrolling down.
Oh, sorry, beg your pardon.
I'm using 2 screens. At the same, under the same item number 2, there was another meeting on the 22nd of February that also was previously circulated. Do members agree that that is an accurate record of the proceedings on that date?
Chair, if you need to, I'm happy to propose both as an accurate record.
Thank you, Lee. Does anyone, is there a seconder for that? In that case, I will second it myself. Rather than go to all agreed, does anyone disagree with that? Does anyone abstain? In which case it's agreed and passed as accurate record. Now, item 3, urgent business. I have not been notified of anything, and neither has Leila. Public speaking time, that the public speaking is as each application is being discussed. So then go straight to item number 5. Members, are there any declarations of interest on items on this agenda?
Chair, yes. Councillor Redman.
Yes.
In relation to agenda item 7, the Sedgemoor District had the application for Sunnybank Road to replace the cradle swings and etc. It's in my ward. It's not prejudicial at all, but I just need it recorded just for the record, please.
For the transparency. Ask our Dorothy, our legal advisor. You're quite happy for Lee to be in the room if he hasn't left by that time.
Absolutely, yes.
Thank you. Graham, your hand is up.
Similarly, Chair, I'm ward councillor for some of the today's proceedings.
And that's really for transparency, isn't it?
Indeed, yes.
Thank you. I also have a declaration of interest, which is a predetermination on the very last application, which is to do with the Crosses pen, because I have advocated and consulted for that at parish council level on more than one occasion. So when we arrive at that particular item, I will be excluded and leave the meeting. And Liz Perry, Vice Chair, will then take over for that item. Now, the next item is the RLT3 funding. That's item number 6. That is Lizzie. Please, would you lead us through the papers? The first item being the Shapwick and Poldens Cricket Club.
Thanks, Councillor. So Shapwick and Poldens Cricket Club are requesting £2,436 of RLT3 money. They would like the money to go towards the purchase of a cylinder mower for preparation of the wickets for matches. The current wicket mower that they have is more than 20 years old and is in danger of becoming unreliable. The remaining £609 that they need will be raised by the club. They have received parish council support from Shapwick, Chiltern and Birtle Parish Council. The new mower will be managed and maintained by the groundsman and will have regular surfacing. Shapwick and Polding Cricket Club is the only cricket club on the Polding Hills. Thanks, Councillor. Janet, you're on mute.
Sorry, the dog was barking. Councillors, members, are there any comments on this application? Leila.
Thank you, Chairman. Just to highlight to members that I did actually send a copy of the speech from the applicants because they were unable to be here today. So hopefully you've had a read through some of the supporting document or supporting.
Polly, you have some. Your hand is up.
Happy to propose that we fully support this one, Chairman.
Thank you. Is there a seconder to that proposal?
Happy to second, Chair. Councillor Redmond, if required.
Thank you very much. As before, does anyone wish to disagree or abstain from voting? In that case, the absence of anything to the contrary, we agree that this application is successful and the applicants be informed accordingly. Thank you very much for that. Now, the next one is Limpsham and Belvedere Cricket Club.
Thank you, Councillor. Limpsham and Belvedere Cricket Club would like to install an additional playing and coaching facility by adding an artificial non-turf cricket pitch surface on the edge of the existing square. The project will cost between £8,500 and £9,535 plus VAT. They are asking for 80% of the funds to be covered by RLT3 money, which amounts to £6,800 for the cheaper quote or £7,628 for the slightly higher quote. They have also stated that any amount would be more than welcome. The club have set aside £2,000 of their own funds to make up the difference. They have support from Burnham Without Parish Council. Limpsham and Belvedere Cricket Club have seen significant growth in the success of the youth teams and have the largest youth squad in the area. Thank you, Councillor.
Thank you. Members, are there any queries on that? Any questions or clarification you require? It's very straightforward and very worthy. In which case, may I ask for a proposal that this application be accepted?
Yes, Chair, I'm happy to propose.
Thank you. Is there a seconder? Thank you. Seconded by Polly Costello. Are there any voices that would disagree or wish to abstain? Thank you. In which case, then, that application is successful and the applicant will be informed accordingly. And the final one is the Chiltern Poldens Playing Fields Association.
Thank you, Councillor. Chiltern Polding Playing Field are requesting £5,664.36 of RLT3 money to complete the outdoor gym equipment at the Chiltern Polding Playing Field. The new equipment will include a chest and shoulder press, a waist station and a dip and leg raise. The total project will cost £12,000 and there is a total of £8,136 in the Polding Cluster RLT3 pot. The remaining balance is to be made from their bank account, various funding, and they have had an anonymous donor. They have local parish council support from Chiltern Polding, Shapwick, Catcott and Edington Parish Council. The new equipment will be managed by Chiltern Polding Playing Field Association as the existing equipment is managed currently. The balance is to be made from the bank account. Oh, sorry, I've already said that. That is me done, Councillor. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Members, are there any queries or requests for clarification? Very clear, very straightforward. In which case, may I have a proposer that this be accepted? Thank you. Proposed by Councillor Lee Redmond. A seconder, please. Seconded by Polly Costello. Are there any voices that wish to disagree or abstain? No, in that case, again, as with the previous two, this is a unanimous agreement and the applicant will be informed accordingly. As you will see from the papers, the sums requested for all of these three clubs is less than the funds available. So there will still be some funds in their pots for subsequent or other activities being requested. So item 7 is the RLT2 funding. So I'm scrolling down. It's a bit slow this afternoon. Next time I've got is lateral grants projects. The update for the RLT2 funding, that's verbal, isn't it, Lizzie?
Yes, Janet. Sorry, I didn't realise I was on mute then.
Yeah. In the papers, but for the benefit of everyone present, in case they haven't seen the tables of the figures, could you take people through it, please?
Yes.
It's really just for noting. There's no voting attached to this one.
Sorry, Janet, just to clarify, do you want me just to read what we have spent RLT2 money on this year?
Or just a summary of what's there?
Yeah, no problem. Sedgemoor District Council have had 4 projects themselves using RLT2 money. One of them is to improve the skate park at Apex Park in Burnham. One of them is to put in a new seesaw at Rosewood Green. One of them is to create a new play area at Sunnybank Road in Bridgewater, where we're removing the old equipment and replacing with new. And the other one is at Cropel Lane, where we have replaced a swing. Other RLT2 money has gone to Wallavington for a cone climber added to their play area. Otterhampton Parish Council have had new signage to help with dog fouling. Badgeworth have also had RLT2 money for a new outdoor tennis table. And Limpsham have put in a wooden train into their park as well. And that is all my RLT2 things this year.
Thank you. And as I can see from the table, the RLT2 money, there's still a little bit left for the rest of the year.
Yes, there is.
Okay. Now, item 8 now are the individual grants projects.
Chairman, Councillor Godwin Pearson was trying
sorry,
to chat you.
Sorry, Graham.
That's okay.
Thank you. No, it was only a tiny comment really, in that I've been to the outdoor tennis table at Badgeworth, and it's a really marvellous facility. I mean, it's absolutely fantastic. So congratulations to the team who made that happen. It's really marvellous.
Thank you very much for that. Lizzie, could you make sure that that is passed on to the staff who designed and selected that particular facility?
Yes, no problem.
Thank you very much. Now, the first of the grants, scrolling down, let's go to risk management. Now, the first one here is the Cross Memorial Management Committee.
Yes. Thank you, Chairman, for hearing this application. I'm here in substitution for the Secretary, who can't be available today. We were actually before you back in February of this year, so I'm afraid you're going to be hearing some of this again. But we carried out a survey last year to establish what our villagers would want to improve their lives in the village. Anecdotally, we know there's an appetite for more events to take place, and 60% wanted the chance to take on more village activities. 57% thought that we could make better use of our village hall. The village hall is situated in the gap between our two villages, Cross and Compton Bishop. And it's ribbon development, and it comprises just the hall. There's no car park or anything else. Our demographic is heavily weighted in favour of the older generation. There are 2 pubs in Cross and the church in Compton Bishop. So if you've no interest in either of these, or dog walking, where you meet other people, the only communal place is the village hall. The survey before the arrival of COVID revealed that at least 50% of people thought that life in the villages could be isolating. And one rather typical comment made by someone was that she was widowed 10 years before the survey, had lived in the village for 19 years and felt that the village was not a friendly place. So we think our village hall really does need to come into its own and be a focal point for people to use. Apart from the people who are enthusiastic about using it, we think that to make it more acceptable to lots of people, a cinema club might be a good idea to set the ball rolling in this regard. Even the very shy can be tempted out to watch a film and maybe have a cup of tea or a glass of wine and then enter into casual conversation, which then builds on those bonds. And we think that once we've lured them out of their houses to our cinema club, we might get them more involved in the village and feeling a little bit happier about it. The clubs who use the village hall, such as the History Society and people who want children's parties, I think would also find it very useful. In our application, we've set out the total cost of our system would be £4,343. We've been trying to raise funds for quite some time, and we have made progress since we last appeared before you in February. They're all contingent on each other, but Hinkley Point are prepared to give us £1,000 towards it. The parish council is going to give 500. The village hall is going to spend £1,000 of its own money in contributing towards it. So we currently have a shortfall of £1,843, and we would be looking to see if you could give us some or even all of it in order that we can make our dreams come true as far as the village is concerned. You'll have seen from our papers that we sent in that we do have capital. £1,000 of that will obviously be put towards the projector, but recent meetings have raised various issues that we're going to have to fund ourselves. We're going to have to spend about £5,000 towards a new oven, pans, seating, that sort of thing. I think our oven is nearly 30 years old and we can't get spares for it anymore. We've also got problems with locks, which are pretty nearly insecure, so we're going to have to deal with those, and some shelving. We've also realised there's an issue with damage being caused by to the building by tree roots, which we believe is not going to be covered by insurance. So we think we're going to have to fund repair work to that, and that will take a very large proportion of our remaining capital. So we're really very keen, if we can, to encourage you to give us the balance of what we need in order to be able to put our projector in the village hall. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's a very clear presentation. You mentioned the ovens. Is this now a health and safety matter?
No, it's not got that far, but it's going to reflect on what use we can make and really how satisfied people are by the amenities in the hall.
That's very good. Thank you. Graham, your hand is up. Is that a legacy?
No, it's not. It's not a legacy, Chair. Having listened to this before in February and suggested that Alex and her team defer, I think this is a very worthwhile project, albeit in my ward. And assuming there are no objections, I'd like to propose we give the full amount.
Thank you. Is that a formal proposal?
It is.
Is there a seconder to that? Thank you. Shannon, as the administrating officer, are there any other comments that you would like to add to this other than what is written in the paper?
No, no comments to add. Thank you very much.
Thank you. As it says, it meets all the criteria. It's been proposed and seconded. Are there any? Sorry, your hand is still up. Is there any?
Can I just clarify what the total amount was in the end? Because I know it wasn't the full amount.
2,150.
Yeah, but I think they want less than that, don't they?
Yes, well, it's 1,843.
1,843. Thanks. I'm just writing that down. Thank you.
Thank you.
1,853.
43, even less.
43. Are you quite sure that will actually do the job?
Well, we certainly hope so. If you want to give us some more, I'm sure we can spend it. But you know, those are the honest figures.
Okay, thank you. It's been voted for, it's been proposed and seconded. Does anyone have any view to the contrary or to abstain? In which case, that application has been approved and you will be informed officially for your records in due course.
Thank you very much. They'll all be delighted.
Thank you very much. And thank you very much for coming to us today.
Not at all. Thank you. I'll leave you now. Thank you.
The next one is the State of Trust. It's a charity. There isn't a registered speaker for this one.
I have put together something for you, Chairman.
Please do lead us through it.
As we haven't got a speaker, is that all right?
Yes, please lead us through.
Okay, so Appendix B is State of Trust. Their project is to deliver the Where is Home Integrational Project, working with Eastover Primary School and Stockmore Lodge Care Home. The project will explore personal stories and history through movement, writing and music. Sorry, lost where I was. Spending 10 days over 10 weeks in a residential care home, working with 15 older adults, exploring backgrounds, life stories, and personal journeys through reminiscence. They will also spend 10 days over 10 weeks in a local primary school, working with 60 Year 5 and Year 6 pupils, exploring personal stories, backgrounds, hopes, dreams, and fears. The project cost equals £5,950, and they are requesting a grant funding of the maximum £2,500. I have some answers to questions if you have any.
Thank you. Members, do you wish to ask for clarification on any point of that? It's certainly an imaginative and very worthwhile project. And they are asking for £2,500. Does anyone have any wish to contest this or to abstain from voting? In which case, could I ask for a formal proposer?
Yeah, I would like to. I think it's a lovely project.
Proposed by Julie Cordner. Is there a seconder?
Yes, I will second that, Liz Perry.
Seconded by Liz Perry. And as there is no one has dissented or abstained, that is a unanimous acceptance of this application. And may the applicant be informed in writing as soon as possible of the result. Thank you. The next one is, actually, it would be very interesting in a few months' time if, as a committee, we could meet some of the participants of that particular project, because it really is very imaginative, and we have not had one like that before. I don't recall ever.
I can and once I obviously congratulate the applicants, I can definitely let them know and ask them to obviously invite you to meet them and obviously go through everything, you know, once it starts and the process is going forwards.
Thank you, because it is going to be very, very interesting from many different points of view. The next one is Ride Mendip, and we have a speaker, it's Grant Garge.
Hi, thanks, Chairman. Good afternoon, councillors. So I'm chairman of Ride Mendips, which is a charity based in Cheddar, and our aim is to improve off-road cycling facilities for people in the area on and around the Mendips. This application is specific to a project which we've applied for previously and had funding initially, which was 2 years ago from Sedgemoor District Council. And the aim of the project is to build a pump track facility on Sharpham Road playing fields. It'll be sited between the new village pavilion, which is just in the process of being finished by the parish council, and the existing skate park. And Ride Mendips, because of the funding we've received from British Cycling, intends to run a British Cycling Places to Ride club on that new facility when it's built. And we've actually secured money from Hinkley Point C recently to actually buy BMXs and coaching equipment to run that club on the facility. We have in total raised the vast majority of funding, but my request coming back for additional funding is due to the fact that we've had to re-site the track due to an issue with Bristol Water having a covenant on a culvert that runs under the existing site, which has meant we've had to relocate it several hundred yards around the corner. And it's currently going through the planning for that new site now. And that has meant that our costs have gone up slightly to create more of a bank. So we're having to buy more materials because it can't be sited on the existing or next to the existing skate park. And also Cheddar Parish Council have asked us to ensure we have a project manager and a CDM consultant as part of the build process. So those are the additional costs we're looking to cover.
Thank you. Shannon, have you any further comments for this?
No further comments.
Thank you. As you can see, this does meet all the criteria. And the sum requested is £2,500. Members, are there, Charlie, you have a question?
Yes, thank you. I probably should have declared that I'm the ward councillor. Just for transparency, can I just ask Grant, on the first table of project costs, you have a figure of £40,000 for materials in kind?
Yep.
Does that mean that you're not actually paying for those, so you don't need the 40,000 because you've actually been given them? I don't quite understand the wording. Quite often materials in kind means that, you know, it's something that's been donated.
Yeah, so the actual materials have been donated by Hanson Batscombe Quarry, and I'm reflecting the cost that those were within the quote from the contractor. So the contractors agreed to remove that from the quote. So the cost is the same to us, but in effect the materials are coming directly from Hanson.
So doesn't that reduce your overall requirement then, so that you're well in the 106,000? I'm a bit confused about this. It looks like you're well overfunded then, if you don't have to account for that 40,000.
Well, so the line item in the funds required is repeated. So materials in kind reflects exactly the Hanson Batscombe Quarry donation. So those in effect cancel each other out, but I just reflected it to show the cost in the contractor quote.
Right. Okay. Sorry, it was my misunderstanding. Thank you for that explanation. Thank you,
No
Chair.
problem.
It is transparent. Are there any, oh, Polly, you have a question?
No, Tom, I haven't got a question. I'm just happy to propose we support it.
Thank you. Is there a seconder?
I'm happy to second that one.
Oh, was that you, Graham?
Yes.
Thank you. Seconded by Graham.
Thank you.
If there are no, if no one wishes to object or abstain, in that case, I'm very happy to tell you that your application has been successful and is granted.
Brilliant. Thanks
You'll be given a written notification officially as soon as possible.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming to visit us today. The next one on the list is the Axbridge Heritage Trail. While I scroll down.
That's Wemden.
I dare not do it fast, otherwise I'm going to lose something.
Excuse me, Chair, it should be Wemden Parklands.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Sorry.
My
Chairman,
this is different.
Chairman, can I just say on this one, we have had contact now from Wemden, and I have sent the link, but she did actually want to speak on this. She was registered at the last meeting, and she's spoken to Andrew this morning. Yeah. So I'm just waiting for her to come in. So could we possibly jump this one?
Okay.
Shannon?
She specifically wants to speak.
I was going to say I could give the small introduction if you wanted to wait while I just went through that, if that made any difference. It's up to you.
Lee Redmond has got his hand up. Just a moment, please.
Thank you, Chair. No, I was just going to say I had the opportunity to read through, because this is one of the ones that we suggested due to lack of funds in the last meeting that they come back. I've had the chance to read through, and I think this is a really exciting opportunity for us. And well, if it was going to help, Chair, I was happy to step forward and make the propose that we fill this one in full, so it perhaps saved the lady having to come in and save us deferring the item.
Thank you. I agree with you. It is a very exciting project. Leila, the speaker, she's not on a telephone somewhere.
No, Chairman, she's not.
No.
She was. I sent the link to her. She hasn't connected as yet. But it's.
So, well, Shannon has got further
it.
details.
Yeah, I can do a run through if that's if you're happy for me to do that to go through. Yeah. Okay, so Appendix D is Wemden, Parklands and Community Together. The group are seeking funds to start designing the signage for the nature trail. The organisation is transforming an area of the land owned by Wemden Parish Council into an exclusive woodland nature trail with sensory borders. They've installed a carved wooden animal nature trail, tarmacked pathways, solar lighting, bird and bat boxes, insect hotels and much more. Alongside this, they maintain areas by planting, weeding and watering. Oh, no, sorry. They maintain the areas with planting and by weeding and watering the other plants with the help of local volunteers. The project cost equals to £5,568 and they requested a grant of £2,500. I've also included pictures just so you can kind of see some of the ideas in which they're going for.
Thank you. And the grant requested £2,500, and this council has signed up to the climate change emergency, and this project does fit very neatly in with this. Julie, your hand is up. Julie?
Yes, unfortunately I I can't support this project, mainly because quite a large portion of the land that this project is on actually has a covenant and it's protected land for badgers, which has now been tarmacked over, CCTV. You mentioned the climate emergency. Well, when you cultivate wild land and turn it into a place for humans rather than wildlife, you actually need to water, you need to weed. So yeah, because of that, although this, it seems like an amazing project, actually, because of the fact that the native animals that this land is supposed to be for are not even mentioned in this project brief, yeah, I can't support it. But I understand why, the council would want to support it. But personally, I can't.
Thank you. Your objection to this will be noted. Are there any other notes? Charlie, you would like to say?
Yes, just to clarify, how big is this area? Are we talking of a large area or is this just a small plot?
Shannon, have you dimensions?
I can check 1 second.
I mean, if it's not a very big area, then I think the objections that have been raised by Councillor Cordner maybe don't worry me that much.
Sorry, I'm just waiting for it to load. My apologies.
Is it coming through?
Yeah, it's on a very go slow, sorry. Right.
From memory, approximately. Julie, you're on mute.
Sorry, it's not a big area.
No, it's not
but it is.
massively.
But the land historically has a covenant that it is badger foraging land. I'm sorry, but that actually means something. And when you put tarmac paths through an area and CCTV and solar lights in a place where nocturnal animals, are supposed to be allowed to forage, whether the land is big or small, it still has an impact.
Thank you. Leila, you had your hand up next.
Thank you, Chairman. I understand Councillor Cordner and her comments, but actually it's not anything to do with this grant. I do understand, and I think it's that's a different matter completely on the legal side of things. There's been a lot of correspondence between legal and other people within it. This is a grant for somebody completely different, and I think we just need to focus on the grant side of things.
Thank you. Liz, before I bring you in, can I ask Shannon to clarify something? You've got your hand up.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, in terms of the wildlife, they are trying to obviously keep it as natural as possible, using, you know, other things to keep the biodiversity in there. You know, they're making the insect hotels. The tarmacking came into place because they wanted to make it as accessible to everyone as possible. So that would include wheelchair access, people, obviously the elderly with their Zimmer frames and other things. So I think that's, you know, one of the elements as to why they did tarmac the place in the first place, just so it can be accessible to everyone. But again, completely understand where you're coming from.
Thank you.
Thank
Liz.
you.
Yes, can we just wait for the speaker to put her comments on, and then we move on to the next one for the minute, and then rather than keep the other speakers waiting, if you understand, and wait for the speaker for the Wemden Parklands to come along. Is that possible?
Well, as she has not made contact yet, I'd like to ask the solicitor a question. Julie mentioned a covenant. Is this covenant, or could it be key to whether or not the project could go ahead or not? Because that would influence whether we were in a position to grant the request.
Thank you, Chair. Unfortunately, I seem to be the only member of the legal team who was not aware of this particular covenant on the land. For a covenant to be enforced, you have to have the covenantor and the covenantee both present. I don't know whether the person who could enforce that covenant is alive, would be able to enforce in the first place. And I do apologise, that's just a complete lack of ignorance on my part of this particular covenant. That said, the provision of the grant has limited bearing on a breach of covenant, because we can give money over to an organisation and it is for that organisation to satisfy itself that it is not breaching any legal requirements or restrictions. You members may wish to consider granting, subject to clarification on the impact of the covenant. And I'm afraid in the circumstances, that's the best I can give.
Is this Mr. Edward or Lorna, Miss Edwards, the person we're waiting for? I've admitted her.
Yes,
Lee, Lee, you have something?
Thank you. I was going to take the advice of the legal officer and make it a little bit easy for us and acknowledge Julie's comments. So I would suggest, I have said that I was happy with the proposal. I'm happy that we propose that we offer the full amount of grant as long as all legal covenants and issues are complied with prior to the issuing of the funds.
That makes sense. But as our guest has arrived, I think it's
not to prolong it for us. That was all, Chair, because that would cover it.
Miss Edwards, before you came in, Julie Cordner raised the question of the covenant on the land under discussion here. Have you any clarification or knowledge of the conditions, who made the covenant, if they're still alive, or have they been consulted?
This has all gone through Sedgemoor planning, and the covenant, what we're doing is turning it into a space that people can use, which is under the covenant's range of terms and conditions.
Thank you. Lee has proposed that this grant be made subject to the conditions that were outlined by the solicitor. Is there a seconder to that proposal? seconded by Polly Costello. Are there any members who wish to disagree?
Yes, I do.
Other than Julie, who has stated her disagreement.
Yes, I'd like to abstain on the basis that for me, I'd like to know a little bit more before giving my vote for it. I mean, all of the biodiversity reports I've seen have made it very clear that it's really important. There are areas of the country that people don't go to, even to view wildlife, where mammals such as badgers live. So, for my part, I'll abstain, please.
Are there any other comments? Lee, you wish to come back?
Sorry, legacy.
Was it, Polly, is that your hand waving to come in? No. Mere hand gestures. Okay, thank you. So as this has been proposed and seconded with the conditions outlined by the solicitor, I would ask for, because there's not unanimous, if I go around member by member and ask if you are going to agree, abstain or disagree. Charlie?
No, I'm for this.
Liz?
Yeah, sorry, yes, I'm for this.
Lee, you've made the proposal.
I'm for, Chair.
Polly, you seconded it.
Yep, I'm for.
Julie, you have stated against. Does that?
Yes, I'm definitely.
Yeah. Graham has stated he wished to abstain. Does that continue?
That's right, I abstain. Thank you.
Alan Matthews?
Abstain.
Abstain. And I feel that I would like to abstain as well, because I have concerns as to the wildlife and the ecology without further clarification. Leila, what is the overall result of that? Is that carried or not?
Bear with me because people are just changing their server.
Can I ask, what is the solicitor's letter you're discussing?
Pardon?
Can I ask, what is the solicitor's letter that you're discussing?
It wasn't a letter. It was our solicitor's advice and comments concerning the covenant. I'll ask her to repeat it for your benefit. Dorothy, Miss Edwards wasn't here when you made your advice. Would you be kind enough to say it again?
Certainly. Unfortunately, I was the only member of the legal team who has no knowledge of this covenant. I made the point that for a covenant to be enforceable, you need to have a covenantor and a covenantee, and that in the circumstances of the matter, that if members were minded to support, then perhaps they would wish to consider supporting, subject to there being a further understanding on the purpose and scope of the covenant. And that was all I said.
Yeah, that this went before we started doing the work. We had consultants from the wildlife place. I can't think of the name. We had one of the ecologists out. It went to the planning team, and they looked at the covenants, and they all agreed that to make it an area for people to use and enjoy, but to keep it for wildlife, which is what we've done. Unfortunately for us, that there were houses built right on top of the in O'Capel Drive, on top of the where the badgers live. Now, I haven't seen a badger for a little while, but there were badgers there when we started the project, definitely. But there's plenty of foxes there. It's not to say that badgers aren't there, but badgers may have left because of the housing. even the ecologist said he could see very little activity in the set anyway. So he said he thought there was very little activity. He wasn't even sure if it was recent.
Thank you. Julie, you would like to come back?
Yeah, I just have to state that the houses in Oakapple Drive were actually built about 15 years ago. And the covenant was made, I believe, was made then for the land, for the badgers, for it to be badger foraging land. So the badgers wouldn't, you know, and I know this has nothing to do with the grant application, but I do have to put the record straight. The badgers wouldn't have disappeared because the houses were built if they were still there when this project was started, because the houses were built 15 years ago. So if there were badgers there then when this project was started, we have to ask where the badgers have gone and why. But yeah, I'll stop there.
Thank you. We've had the vote, but Leila, could you tell us the numbers, please?
Thank you, Chairman. The results are 4 in support, 1 against, 3 abstentions.
So that's even. Oh, so 4 and 4. What is the legal procedure now? If
Chair, sorry, point of order. Councillor Edmund, actually it's 4 in favour of the vote, 1 against and 3 abstentions. So the vote is carried, Chair.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, sorry. Thank you very much. But will the condition or the advice of the solicitor still be made with the granting of this, as was the original wording of your proposal, that the grant is made £2,500 subject to any further? I've forgotten the wording. Thank you. In that case, Ms Edwards, the £2,500 is granted.
Thank you very much.
You'll receive a letter as soon as possible, officially making that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for coming to us. Now, the next grant on the list, so that all those photographs, is the Axbridge Heritage Trail. Barbara Wells is the speaker here. You were here earlier.
I'm here.
Yes.
Thank you.
Can you come back? Thank you.
Yes, thank you. As you will have read in our application, we're looking to provide walking trails around Axbridge to encourage visitors to come to our small town and to give residents an excuse to get some exercise. A local business, Enable M&P, have agreed to part fund a website and QR codes and to work with us on this. And I'm sure you have seen how this has helped the tourism in Burnham-on-Sea. We're working with the museum in Axbridge on material for the properties featured in the Heritage Trail, and have put together, with the help of the local school children, a children's trail, which will ask them to identify things and answer a quiz, and then the answers will be on the website. We have support from the Town Council, our Town Councillor Liz Scott, businesses in the town and local residents, all keen to see this up and running. As well as applying for funding from Sedgemoor for this scheme, we have applications in at present to Thatchers, Butcombe, Cheddar Woods, Mendip Hills and the Jack Todd Fund. We have also presented and secured funding from the Axbridge Chamber of Commerce, and are hoping to run a fundraising event when COVID restrictions allow. Potential supporters have all indicated interest and are putting our requests forward to their next funding meetings. In the meantime, we've been working hard on wording for the QR codes and setting up our website, axbridgeheritagetrails.com, which will go live with a holding page in the next few days. Phase 2 will be an oak notice board in the square and blue plaques for selected buildings, a sample of which I can show you today. So that's the one we've had done for the town hall.
Thank you.
Right, well, sorry, I've lost my place now. And blue plaques for selected buildings. Yeah, I have secured a 20% reduction from the plaque company, and all residents I've spoken to so far from the list have agreed to pay at least half towards a plaque on their own property. To reduce costs further, we have been lucky enough to get a skilled carpenter from the Axevale Men's Shed to agree to make the notice board for the cost of the wood. We have found a local printer to print the leaflets for the walks, and these will be available at no cost from the Heritage Hub in the church, the museum and the post office, as well as in local holiday lets and campsites. Yesterday I met with Mark Lidster from Sedgemoor's Heritage Officer to discuss where we can put the notice board and which of the properties on our list we can put up plaques. He was very supportive of the scheme, and we have agreed the notice board can go by the phone box in the square, and all the properties suggested can have plaques and QR codes, the exception being the museum, which can have a plaque in the window alongside a QR code. We hope you can see your way clear to helping us with this scheme, and thank you for your time.
And thank you, it's a very clear presentation. And you did send us a very supportive letter from the Town Council.
Yes.
Shannon, are there any further points that you would like to clarify for members?
No further points, thank you.
Thank you. Members, have you any questions or comments about this application? No, in that case, it applies with all the criteria. Excuse me, something is butting in on the screen. That's it, gone. May I have a proposer that we accept this? Graham.
I'd be delighted to propose this one.
Proposed by Graham Godwin-Pearson, seconded, please. A seconder by Charlie Richards.
Thank you so much. We're very grateful.
Well, we haven't gone to the vote yet.
Oh. Jumping the gun.
Enthusiasm, yes.
Sorry. I take
Does
it back.
anyone wish to vote against or abstain? Nobody. In that case, it is unanimously accepted.
Thank you. We'll let you know.
It was lovely to speak with you today. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next one is the jump to page. The Axbridge Cheddar Cycle Walkway. We have a speaker, David Parkin.
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, I'm aware that the Grants Committee normally only gives money towards special projects. What we've asked for could be termed ordinary maintenance, but the position, as I've tried to outline in the application, is that in 2019 we did a very major improvement on a very bad section of the walkway alongside Bristol Waterworks, raised a lot of money towards that, and had to put in a lot from our reserves. This has left us with very little to put towards a fairly urgent piece of repair work at the Axbridge end. I included a photograph in our supporting notes showing how the fairly steep slope at the Axbridge end has become badly eroded. It's part of the old, it wasn't originally part of the old cycleway. It was a special slope down to the present track, and it's now quite dangerous. Not just to cyclists and walkers, but parents with buggies. Anybody with a mobility aid is in quite serious difficulty on it. So we've got a quotation from the company that did the first section with some tarmac surfacing 3 or 4 years ago. We would like to complete that as a bit of an emergency, really, for resurfacing that, scraping it back, resurfacing it, and making it safe and more durable for future years. We originally wanted to try and get this done before the busy summer season, but over this last year, it's been very clear that the amount of sort of necessary walking and commuting between Axbridge and Cheddar has been enormous, but a great deal of the use of the track has come from people just exercising during lockdown. So it's been very evident how much this improvement is needed. I'd like to ask for half of the quotation that we've been given, which is £1,530, and we can get the work done as quickly as possible so that before the very busy season through the summer break is upon us, we would like to get this urgently carried out. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Shannon, have you any further clarification for this one?
I just want to clarify that it's not a highways issue as it is the old Strawberry Railway line, which is why highways don't need to be consulted and haven't been consulted. So that's just a confirmation for that one. Thank you.
Thank you. And members, you will note from the papers that the match funding has come from the applicant's own reserves here. So this is, as he said, this is only half of it. Are there any further questions from members? Charlie?
Yeah, I'd just like to say I'm very happy to support this project. The being part of the Strawberry line, it's a very significant part of active travel in our ward. There are active discussions going forward about how to maybe link this into other aspects of the Somerset Circle as time goes on, but we would hate to lose this now before we can progress other funding and before the Strawberry line can progress other funding options because this will, we think, be part of very significant active travel in the future. So I'm very happy to propose this.
Thank you. Is there a seconder for this? Liz Perry is seconding that. Are there any other comments that members wish to make? In which case, does anyone wish to disagree or abstain from this application? No, in that case, I'm happy to say that that's unanimously agreed.
Thank you very
you'll
much.
give the official confirmation later. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you.
The next application is the Princess Theatre Company. And Clive whom?
Oliver.
So Oliver Holm, thank you.
Good afternoon.
Would you like to continue? Thank you.
Yes. So just to explain who we are, if you don't know who we are, we're a community theatre group based at the Princess Theatre in Burnham-on-Sea. We're the only amateur theatre company in Somerset and possibly in vast stretches of the southwest that only does original theatre insofar as we write, create, produce, present, promote all of the things you have to do when you're a theatre company to get our productions on. There's nobody else who does what we do. It's open to everybody in the community. Anybody can join as long as they're over the age of 18. We put on about 15 productions since we were founded in 2013. What's happened is we had our last production was due in May 2020. And unfortunately,
excuse me, there's something happening on the line.
Chairman, so apologies. We're just trying to get the next speaker in, but we have to do it by phone, and she's got a call minder on. So apologies. I don't know whether Mr. Holm wants to carry on now.
I will carry on.
We think she's in now.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, so we were due to put our next production on in May 2020. Now, obviously, that didn't happen because of COVID-19, and we've been in abeyance ever since then. We had an arrangement with Burnham and Highbridge Town Council where we had a profit split. Basically, any money we made out of the sales of tickets, we had half of it and the council had the other half of it, and that was the way it worked out. But since then, there's been a change in the management arrangements of the Princess Theatre. And we now have been asked we need to pay for the use of the theatre. and commit to making fairly major expenses. And this is why we're asking for a grant. I appreciate that it's not a normal sort of a grant because we're asking for money to keep operating. Without the money to keep operating, we can't operate. We need the money in order to put the productions on. We have 3 productions in the stocks ready to go. And that's basically the situation with us. The number we are asking for £1,000. £1,000 will give us enough money with our own funding, which is slightly more than that, to put on the next production. We can rent space in community buildings, so we can use the money from that will go towards community organisations. We can hire the Princess in order to put the production on. We can use the money to support promotions using local businesses, and so forth. Unfortunately, the introduction of the fees, our next production would not be financially viable. I'm sure you appreciate that the arts have been very badly hit by COVID-19. There's not a lot of money going around, and we were extremely badly hit by it, by not being able to put productions on. This is what we're asking for the money for. We were advised to apply for this grant by Councillor Mike Murphy, who suggested this might be an opportunity for us to get the money we need to continue to function. That's pretty much the situation. I can't really expand on it any more than that because that's what it is. We need the money to keep funding the company. We only need it once, because once we've done it once, we can use the money from ticket sales in the future to continue to fund the company. Without it, we can't function. And that's basically the situation.
Thank you very much. Shannon, have you anything further to add to enlarge on that?
I just want to clarify. Sorry. I just want to clarify that this is Princess Theatre Company. There is another group called the Princess Theatre, or Friends of the Princess. So I just want to clarify they are 2 separate entities. This one obviously is a theatre production. The other one is not. And the other one, Friends of the Princess, is so obviously they are done, what's the word I'm looking for, supported and is with the Burnham Town Council. So I just wanted to clarify they are 2 separate ones, just in case anyone got a bit confused there. So just wanted to say that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Julie.
Yeah, I just want to say that I'd love to support this project. It's a really good use, I think, of the grant. It's going to directly affect people, and as Oliver said, you know, it's very rare to go to a theatre production that's actually developed and produced by, you know, grassroots theatre. So I think it's a great project, and I would like to propose it.
Entirely agree, and I would like to second that from the chair.
Hello.
So I'm just writing down. Somebody said hello, but I can't see a hand.
Councillor, it was Eileen Shaw, so we've muted her again. Don't worry. Sorry.
Does any member have any further questions for clarification or comments on this proposal? No. Well, it's been proposed by Julie, seconded by myself. Does anyone wish to vote against or to abstain? No, in which case, Mr. Helm, your proposal has been unanimously agreed.
Thank you very much indeed.
Be informed
Thank you.
officially as soon as possible.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
Now, the next one is the Crosses pen, in which case I have declared a predetermination here. So I will now leave the meeting and the officer will call me back when you have finished your discussing. I hand over to Liz.
Okay, right, thank you. Right, this is number 8, Crosses Pen Community Sports Trust. Is Eileen Shaw there? Can you hear me? Hello?
I think she left after she said hello.
We're having problems. Bear with me 1 minute.
Do you want me to do an introduction while you're trying to get her in?
If you could, yes, please.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so the last item is Appendix H, which is Crosses Pen Community Sports Trust. Their project aims to implement an ambitious plan to transform the underused tennis courts at Crosses Pen into 2 multi-use games area. These will accommodate netball, tennis, football, basketball, a jog cycle track. The project accumulates to £5,360 and they're requesting the maximum grant of £2,500. The money itself today, for clarification, will be going towards the starting of the project. It won't be going to the actual equipment for the area. So this will be the startup cost, getting it run, getting it ready before actually moving in to, which is why they didn't go for the RL2 or the RL3 fund. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Have we got Eileen Shaw back yet? No.
I think, Chairman, that Andrew's just trying to get her back in. We're having problems with CallMinder and all sorts. So hold on. I'm just going to try. Hold on 1 minute.
Okay, thank you. Have any members at the moment got any questions for Shannon? Yes, Charlie.
I will just ask, because in my time at least on the committee, this is somewhat of a departure to the sorts of things that we have funded, in as much this appears to be paying for administration to set up an organisation which has aspirations to do something in the future, and there will be many such possibilities, I would have thought, across the district. And I just wonder, in terms of policy, how this fits with the sorts of things that we do. I think many organisations would like to think that they could get some money to help themselves set themselves up so that they're in a position then to go and apply for funds. To put it bluntly, I mean, I'm not at all commenting on the merits or not of upgrading the Crosses Pen area. I'm just thinking about how this should or should not be done. Thank you.
Right, thank you. And any comments from Shannon?
In terms of your understanding of applying to other places, they did apply to the Somerset Community Foundation, but unfortunately they were refused as the project was heavily subscribed. And as you can see, you know, they haven't got a lot of capital to begin with, and I think it was a case of bringing it to the table for you guys to decide whether or not it fully fits into the criteria, because there are aspects of it that I think will fit and will work really well, and especially after having the pandemic and everything. But again, it's completely up to you really in terms of what you think with it.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Legal, Dorothy, are you wanting to come in here?
Yes, please. Just a clarification that within agenda item 8, I don't expect you to go to it towards the very bottom of this particular agenda. We have a statement, other points to consider when making an application. So I'm reading page 30 of agenda item 8. Applicants are not to apply for general organisation running costs. The grant must be for a standalone project or startup costs or new additional elements to existing projects. That's all I had to say.
Okay, thank you. Have we got Eileen Shaw back yet, or is she?
No, I think we're having problems getting her in. I don't think we're going to get her in. We've tried about 5 times now, so I think we can just go ahead and consider it without it.
Yes, yeah. I'm just wondering whether the members want to defer this one for another time so that we can get some more information from Eileen exactly what the project's about. Is everybody happy to proceed like that?
Councillor Perry, I think she might be in. Quick, speak to her now.
Hello, is that?
I'm speaking.
Hello, Eileen, are you there?
Yes.
Yes. Hello. Can you just explain your project to the members on the committee, please? Thank you.
Okay. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, we
Can you
can.
hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I just wanted to say that I'm a trustee and secretary for the Crosses Pen Community Sports Trust. And as you'll see from the application, our principal aim is to replace the existing aging and underused tennis courts with 2 multi-use games areas. But the need for this project was the result of several of our trustees receiving reports of young people meeting in Crosses Pen and the adjacent Manor Gardens, using and dealing in drugs. And indeed, we know this is still going on, as one of our trustees goes by on a regular basis and burns a strong smell of cannabis. We've also been told about general antisocial behaviour, i.e. egg throwing and general harassment of residents and vulnerable people in care in the vicinity. And both the police and social services have confirmed these reports. The lack of general free access to sports facilities in central Burnham convinced us that this provision will offer a healthy alternative lifestyle and combined with the possibility of team sports, which would promote social cohesion, it felt the right solution at the right time by offering free and diverse opportunity for access to sport, and this includes wheelchair access. We've reached an agreement in principle to lease the land on which the old tennis courts stand, and we are seeking to support this with a reserve fund to provide for any vandalism, maintenance and insurance costs, especially in the first 2 years. This grant application is precisely for this and to enable us to demonstrate we have sufficient funds to support the project going forward. We will shortly be writing to potential funding founders, to be followed up by the setting up of a crowdfunding page and our own website in order to continue to raise funds for long-term sustainability. Finalising the lease is an essential pathway into phase 3, which will be applying to large funders for capital funding to complete the project. Indeed, I've already spoken to several of these and have received positive responses. We very much hope you will support our efforts to create this sports project and offer alternative lifestyle choices in the centre of Burnham. And I'll be happy to answer any questions you have. Thank you.
Okay, right. Well, thank you very much. Has any committee members got any questions? Yes, Councillor Riches.
Yes, thank you. So the money you have in there for maintenance, is that to bring the tennis court back into use? So in the interim, people can be playing tennis there?
Yes, I mean, currently it's still it is in use at the moment, but it's managed by Sedgemoor District Council. But clearly, for us to be able to get the grant funding to convert this to their mothers, once we hold the lease, we will then be responsible for maintenance of what's there for the time being, and then for what will be there in the future. It's not a quick fix, it's going to take some time, but I hope that answers your question.
So just to be clear, this is Sedgemoor District Council facility at the moment, is it?
Yes.
Ah, okay. And and it's been agreed that they're going to hand it over to your organisation.
Yeah, in principle, yes. I mean, our chair has been in conversation with Tim Mander, and what will happen once we've paid over the fee, which is I think £300, he will advertise the disposal of the lease to us. Now, I don't see that being a problem because it's not changing its use. In fact, it's improving its use. So I'm hoping once that goes through and we've got the lease, we can then move forward with applying to the major funders. But the first question they ask us is, do we own or lease the land? And at the moment, we do neither. So getting...
Yeah, and could you use the money that's come from Burnham Town Council to secure that lease?
We could, but it leaves our reserves in quite a low position. So we wanted to have a reasonable amount of reserves before we applied for the lease. Because we're going to have to, once that lease is confirmed, we are going to be responsible for maintenance ad infinitum, basically.
Okay. Councillor Cordner, did you want to ask a question?
Yeah, just for clarification, really, because I'm just a little bit confused. So it's currently owned by Sedgemoor District Council, the land?
That's correct.
Where this tennis court is. So I'm just wondering why it needs to be passed to a charitable body for the upkeep and why it can't be kept up.
Well, because Sedgemoor, it's only, at the moment, it's 2 tennis courts which are not used very much, and then they're very old. And our idea was if we were to provide a better facility, we would be able to detract from the antisocial behaviour that's going on there at present. And at this stage, I don't think anybody else has shown any interest in doing this, which is why we've set up the trust. We spent a long time setting up the trust, writing our constitution, applying to the Charity Commission and appointing trustees to get to the stage where we are at.
Okay, thank you. I've got Councillor Costello and also Mrs Nicholson wanting to ask a question.
Layla was before me.
Yeah, Layla, did you want to?
Thank you, Councillor. I think in the circumstances, I'm not. I think. Can I suggest that we defer this application? I don't think we can actually pay ourselves, which is in effect that's kind of what we're doing. But I think we need to. I would suggest it gets deferred and get some more information about this.
Yes, thank you. And Councillor Costello, yes.
Thank you. Well, I can see in the background we've got Rob Semple, but surely if Sedgemoor own this, Sedgemoor should be sorting it out and making it a better facility for the community. Not this is bonkers. Something's very wrong has gone on here.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. So thank you very much for your explaining everything, Eileen. Right. Now, Rob Semple, you are trying to come in. Can you just explain, please, to everyone?
Well, only that I was going to say it's no different, I suppose, than Cranley Gardens, where there was the old disused tennis courts that were in ownership from Sedgemoor District Council, and then a trust was started. I think Julian Taylor started that Eastover Sports provision, or Eastover Sports and Leisure, or something, some kind of group. I think Lee Redmond would have known more about that. He's gone. Where they did a similar thing, where they were then able to attract the external funding to look to improve it, and then they put on the Mugger They put on green gym equipment, and they did a lot of renovations there. I suppose the difference is that if there's the funding available to do it internally, Sedgemoor potentially could look at that through Scott Mason and his team. If you were looking to attract external funding, then you would need a partnership group that would be set up, external group that's set up that can apply for grants and that can look for that external funding. So I guess that's maybe where it's come from. Not having been at grants for a while, I'm not sure what the RLT funding available in Burnham is, but
Yeah.
I can't imagine it's probably.
Right. Okay.
Can I come back on that? Because am I allowed to come back? Because we have spoken to Scott about RLT funding, and one of the issues is, and it's a chicken and egg situation, we have to provide match funding in the first place to be able to get RLT funding, and I can't go to major funders without having the lease to the land.
Okay.
It's sort of like a never-ending circle, really.
Dorothy, did you want to come in here, please?
Thank you, Chair. It is, of course, for members to decide whether they wish to defer, approve or reject any application. As I understood the debate this afternoon, we have a startup organisation who are seeking monies to pay for insurance. So I find it difficult to square that with the council is essentially giving itself a grant.
Yeah.
So you may want to put that into the mix. If, of course, members remain uncomfortable, then you are fully entitled to defer. But I just thought I'd throw that into the mix for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Right. Well, members, if you want to, have you got any more questions to ask Eileen or legal or Shannon about this? Because I think there's three options or four, either to defer, to agree, or object or abstain. Now, I'm not quite sure which way.
Object.
Who wants to? Julie, did you want to say anything?
Yeah, I don't think I can support this if it does go to a vote, because it just doesn't sit right. It doesn't. Yeah, but it's up to everyone else. If you want to defer and get more information, that's also fine.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Okay. Thank you. Yes, Charlie. Councillor.
I mean, in a way, I feel that if we were to reject this now, but obviously on the basis of much more fuller reports from officers looking at the likely future of this site, Sedgemoor's involvement in it, and what the opportunities are, we could then look at a future application, which probably would be, have a lot more work having been done on it before we consider it, and we would then be funding it as part of a bigger project that's actually going somewhere to deliver the multi-use games area. So I feel that rejection would not be in a negative sense. It would be, okay, we're not funding it now, but we're very interested in this, but with it drawn up in a more substantial way. That would be my proposal.
Thank you. Thank you. Councillor Cordner.
Yeah, totally agree with Charlie. The actual principle behind the whole thing is fantastic, and very worthy. It just doesn't, maybe in the future.
Right. So are we heading for to disagree and waiting for more information from officers? Right. Okay. So I'll need a proposal for that. For that we wait for more information from the planning officers, the officers. Thank you. And Councillor Costello, you're seconding that, are you?
Yeah, absolutely, or whatever, proposing seconding.
Right. Okay. So Legal, is that fine in the legal?
Right. Thank you, Chair. I was going to say, can I be very clear on what you're recommending? Is it to reject this application, or is it to defer this application for further information? You wish to reject.
Reject
That's
it.
fine.
Yes.
That is a right that this committee has.
Thank you. Thank you. Right. So we go through it's been proposed and seconded. So we are saying we reject this proposal, and then if anybody disagrees or abstain, they must say so.
Yeah, I abstain on the basis I don't think it's been spelled out properly. I would agree that we defer, or in this case, agree that it comes back at a later stage. I will have words with the committee to make sure that next time it comes forward, it's in a more presentable state.
Of course. Right. Okay. So we have those that disagree with this proposal. Layla, I think we've got a few that have one abstention. Is that right? Or are there others who are abstaining? Can you?
In respect, sorry, I'm just still struggling myself. In respect of we are not wanting to, or I say you are not wanting to award the grant.
Yes.
No, yeah. So the only one that's abstained is Councillor Matthews at the moment.
Yes, unless I hear.
Everybody else is in support.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. There you go.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Is that
just get Councillor Keane back in?
Yeah.
Is Eileen happy?
Yes, certainly. Eileen, is she still there?
I'm still here.
Yes.
I'm very disappointed Eileen's still here, I have to say, but there you go.
Yeah, but if you reapply and we get some more information on your project, then I'm sure it will be.
Well, I don't understand what more information you need, but no, I can't go any further into that at this stage.
Okay, could we have this discussion after the meeting, please?
Yes, thank you very much. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Janet, are you? Councillor Keane, are you there?
Hi there, everyone. And again, I take it that last item has now been concluded.
Yes.
There's no further business on the agenda, but I would like if you just to bear with me a few moments. If you recall, before COVID, we discussed, I hoped that in the autumn of that year, it would be 2019 now, it would have been back in 2019, that all of the people who had received grants of different sorts, if we had hoped, we could meet them at almost an open day type reception. Of course, everything has been put on hold because of COVID, which has changed everything. And this year, there hasn't been really enough, but I wonder if we could look forward perhaps to in the spring, maybe even before the end of this financial year, to look back over the last 2 to 3 years of what has gone on. I don't know what members feel about that, but a great deal of public money has been spent on public projects, but it would be very, very nice if we could actually see for ourselves, not only for reassurance, but also as additional support to all the volunteers who probably with their blood, sweat and tears get their projects off the ground and deliver a service. Shannon, your hand is raised.
Hi, sorry. I just wanted to say on Friday, so last Friday, I did go to an opening ceremony on behalf of the grants committee because I don't think anyone could make it. So I went as the grants officer to an application that was submitted in 2020, I think it was. And it was amazing to see the money that is what it's gone towards and to see the difference that it actually made and how happy everyone was. So I definitely think it would be something amazing if you guys would be able to attend. Obviously that was my first one to attend, but yeah, it was really nice to be able to see where the money goes and what kind of output it comes into and the changes that it makes to these people and their charities and their, you know, all the things that they're trying to do. So yeah, so I just wanted to say, I went to one last Friday and it was lovely to see the outcomes of it.
Thank you. We are so lucky to have so many people that give so much of themselves, their time and quietly their cash as well for their community, and people whom they don't even know will benefit from it. We can't discuss it now, but I wanted to put the seed back in your minds. If perhaps we could find time, I don't know what Leila thinks. Do you think this might be a suitable agenda item for next time? Or even the last one before the end of the year, the calendar year?
Yeah, that's a really lovely idea, and it's a really good idea. So we can perhaps write and get people to update us, perhaps send some photos or join us on Teams or something, and we'll have a bit more of a. It's only the only. I don't think we can do it for the next meeting because there's actually only 3 weeks now.
Yeah.
Because of all the
So
delays,
the one after that.
unfortunately. But yeah, some point in the next 2 or 3 meetings, or next couple of meetings, we'll get that one sorted, and I'm sure Shannon will get going on it.
Thank you. Julie.
Yeah, sorry, I might have totally missed this, but in the agenda it said something about seek clarification of grants criteria in relation to schools. Did I miss that? Sorry.
I printed off a copy of the agenda and
maybe I'm on the wrong. Oh no, it was
your guidance,
report.
Leila, please.
I think it was the report. It's okay.
Yeah, I think it's probably
Yeah.
I've forgotten
Ignore
to
me.
take a paragraph out on it.
Yeah, ignore me. I think we did that previously.
We did, and I think because I'd had technical problems with the PDFing of the and sorting out the report, I did delete it on the first one, and then I think on the second
Came
one
back on the second.
yeah,
worry.
I'm so sorry.
I just thought I'd
it
missed
confused
something.
me as well originally, so don't worry.
Thank you. As there's no other further business notified, does anyone else have any closing comments over today's business? Shannon?
Can I just clarify that the total amount awarded today was £14,680? Is that correct? Yeah. Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, because that will come up under our Pentana results at the end of the quarter. In that case, thank you all very much, everyone. And